I went to the party because it felt easier than explaining why I couldn't. Grief had already made me a poor conversationalist. Declining would have required words. So I put on a dark blue dress that still smelled faintly of dry cleaner and drove to my sister's house with my hands steady on the wheel, my mind elsewhere. The yard was loud, with the soft violence of celebration balloons snapping against each other, a banner sagging under its own optimism. Someone had taped a paper crown to the high chair. The cake leaned, imperfect, already missing a slice. I noticed the details because looking at faces felt like trespassing. People said my name carefully, as if it were glass. I nodded. I smiled when required. I held a plastic fork and pretended to consider whether it was clean. My sister waited. I could feel it. The way she hovered near the table, the way she kept checking the time. When she finally spoke, she did it with a laugh, as though she were late with a toast. "Before we cut the cake," she said, bright and brisk, "there's something I need to clear up." The words landed softly, almost politely. She didn't look at me at first. She looked at the room, the witnesses, the people she trusted to carry the moment for her. "My son," she said, and rested a hand on the baby's head, "is your husband's child." The room exhaled. Someone made a sound that might have been surprise, or might have been relief at finally understanding some unspoken tension. My sister turned to me then, her eyes calm, managerial. "So as inheritance," she continued, "I'll be taking half of your house. 800,000 so, 400, that's fair." She said fair the way people say weather. I felt it then, the laugh. It came up fast, wrong and bright, like a hiccup. I pressed my tongue to my teeth and swallowed it down. My chest did something strange, a tightening that wasn't pain exactly, more like the sudden certainty that a joke had been told very badly. She produced a folded paper from her bag and held it up between two fingers. "He updated his will," she said. "I have a copy. I didn't reach for it, I didn't ask to see it." I could already tell what it was by the way she held it. Not with reverence, not with grief, but with triumph disguised as preparedness. "Oh," I said. My voice surprised me. It was steady. "I see." What I saw was not what she thought. I saw my husband in a hospital chair, socks on the wrong feet, asking me to read clauses aloud because his eyes were tired. I saw dates circled on calendars. I saw signatures placed deliberately, not hastily. I saw the trust we set up when the diagnosis stopped being theoretical. I folded my hands and let the room sit in its new shape. The party continued in a lopsided way. Cake was cut. Photos were taken with a careful gap where I stood. My sister spoke to people in lowered tones, her confidence intact, already rehearsing the next steps. I left early. No one stopped me. At home, the house was exactly as I'd left it. Quiet, a little too clean, heavy with the absence of shoes by the door. I took off the dress and sat on the edge of the bed. The laugh came back then, smaller, edged with something like grief. I let it pass. The next morning I made coffee and opened the folder I hadn't touched since the funeral. I didn't rush, I didn't need to. The pages were familiar, the dates were not. The will my sister waved around was real. It existed. It just wasn't the last one. It predated the trust by 6 months. It predated the house being placed inside it by 5. It predated the quiet conversation my husband and I had when he asked me, gently, whether I would be okay if things got complicated. By noon, I had spoken to the attorney. His voice was calm in the way of someone whose job is to lower temperatures. He asked for scans. He explained jurisdiction. He explained what probate actually meant in practice, not in threat. On Tuesday, papers were filed. On Wednesday, my sister called. She didn't yell. She didn't apologize. She asked questions that revealed she was already losing ground. On Friday, she received formal notice that her claim was suspended pending review, that access to the house was restricted, that communication would now go through counsel. Authority entered the situation not with spectacle, but with stamps and signatures. It was unmistakable. The family adjusted around it the way people adjust to a new piece of furniture they don't like but must walk around. There were no scenes, there were silences. Invitations grew vague. Holidays became conditional. I stood in the living room that evening as the light shifted and touched the doorframe my husband had measured once, joking that the house would outlast us both. I rested my hand there and felt the grain of the wood. Possession did not feel like victory, it felt like responsibility. The grief was still there, unchanged in weight but altered in shape. It no longer folded me inward, it let me stand. Later, when I thought back to the party, to the banner and the cake and the claim made in public, I remembered the laugh I didn't let escape. I was glad I hadn't needed it. Silence had been enough.